Today, we've got the pleasure of speaking with Dhruvin. He was a prior student of ours that just got his exam results back, and let him know. How'd you do?
I think I passed, yes, for sure.
How's it feel?
Because I still remember that day. It was in the morning, and I got an email that the results are out. So I went there and I checked. But my plan was to prank on my wife that I failed. But I was so excited that I couldn't do that. And I saw that pass and I just jumped. Boom. And and like she was like, "What happened?" I'm like, "I passed. That's it. Done for the day. No more working today."
Excellent. And how was she excited too?
Oh yeah, because it was more of her because she had like 7 months of struggle behind me because I was not like sitting for studying and I was giving excuses some days and she was like, "No, that's not happening. You have to go in that room. I'm locking it from outside and then you go study. That's it." And the phone, she would take my phone too.
Sounds like you had a coach in your corner.
Yes.
Excellent. How about what part of the industry do you work in?
It's in so I do basically grocery outlet designing, electrical designing. So basically real estate part. So it's the designing from switchgear to lighting and all the receptacles and whatnot. So we do like big grocery outlets and supermarket stores. And I have just been experienced almost 2 years now in this industry. Before I was in data center industry, so I didn't have much exposure in how the whole thing works. So this was all new for me because I mean I never thought of taking a PE or an EIT, never. Because I still remember like in my first job, uh, my boss used to say that instead of masters I would do a PE, and I'm like PE is not for me because it's so difficult. And here I am passing a PE after that,
There you
after a
go.
few years of that.
Wonderful. So the electrical design that you do, I'm guessing mostly low voltage or maybe some service
Yes,
drops or stuff like that.
yes, low voltage. So it's basically 480 and 208 simple stores. So it's like a footprint of 13,000 square feet
Hmm.
max. So if you see Walmarts and small supermarket stores, so basically that's what we do.
A lot of like 208-volt lighting panels.
Yes, 208, 480 volt also
Mhm.
sometimes. Yep.
Excellent. So you'll probably be using your license quite a bit, I'm assuming, with signing and sealing and reviewing plans and all that good stuff.
Basically, we didn't have any engineer here who could sign, and now I have it. So it will be my license which will be used because that's what needed because they opened an office in California like recently, and I was the first hire.
Excellent.
And nobody had a PE license here, but from other states they had licenses applicable to California, so they used to sign it for us. But now I need to get mine so that we can do the whole thing in California.
That's excellent. Sounds like it's really going to put you in a position to take on a not a lot of new responsibility, lead some
Definitely,
projects, maybe even manage a team.
that's the goal.
Excellent. Exciting. Very exciting.
Definitely, I know it's challenging, but I want to get challenged.
Mhm. Definitely. So you were signed up originally for the October exam or the April exam?
Definitely, October.
October. Okay. So you
Yes,
went through just one round of the exam being canceled.
yes,
Got it. Talk to me a little bit about that. So you were signed up. You were expecting to take the last paper and pencil. You were probably really looking forward to maybe getting that out of the way so that you wouldn't have to take the CBT exam. And then I think it was mid to late August, you got that email from NCES that says, sorry, it's canceled and we're moving up the CBT exam from January to December. What was that like getting that cancellation notice and realizing that you're going to have to kind of change up your study approach?
basically I signed up for the test because it was the last one, and I was like, let me just give it once and experience how it is. And I think it was your first live class we got that notice that it is cancelled. But somehow I was happy. I don't know why, because I got more time, or I don't know why, but I was like, you know what? I think I have some time to study now. And I had all my tabs ready, like printed out everything, material, and put tabs on it and big bunch of files and whatnot. And I'm like, all right, now this is new. But like once your class got started and whatnot, it was a smooth transition. So I'm like, you know what? It is easier now not to take all these references and go in there and search for it. Basically, it helps for NEC questions
Mhm.
because you get the control F function, and that is much easier than going there and putting the pages up and down. And like, and that actually helped a lot because there were many NEC questions.
Excellent. So it sounds like maybe the transition to the CBT format was actually, sounds like it was a positive thing for you overall.
Yes.
That's excellent. I think you're the first former student I've talked to that found that as a positive experience. Everyone else, they were a little apprehensive. Um, what else? Were there any challenges that you faced with studying for the CBT format once they announced that change compared to the challenges that you were facing for the paper and pencil format?
Definitely, because sometimes we have to mug up the formulas which are not there. And I mean, since you practice for 6 7 months, it's like it's like on top of your head, so you know the formulas and whatnot. But there were some of the things like in machine and whatnot, we had to remember like overexcited and what happens after that. Is it a generator or whatnot? So I mean, I used to prepare like small gimmick formulas like Rolex. So Rolex means I had it here. ROLAX. O means overexcited. LA means lag. X
Ah,
means export. And G comes first before M. So it's for generate. Simple. And then opposite to it goes for leading and lagging.
excellent. So you were kind of coming up with a lot of all sorts of different
Yeah,
mnemonic devices to help you remember the relationships.
definitely. Because I cannot mug anything. It's really hard for me to mug something.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I look for ways similar to that to remember, or I try to come up with ways to kind of derive it. And if I can derive it, after a while, I'll kind of intuitively know it. But in terms of trying to memorize it, it's I think it's definitely a losing strategy. There's just too much. There's too much to memorize it all.
Because when you're on pressure, like it just blows out. You have no idea what you're doing. It's a pressure like situation, so you just forget it and you
Yep,
mix up things.
definitely. So you definitely had some extended study time. Um, now, remind me, did you take the CBT exam in December or January?
January 12th, I guess.
January
Yeah.
12th.
Yeah.
So you had about a little more than 2 extra months then towards the end to really
Definitely.
really put it in.
I took a break and I'm like, after that, I was not motivated to study at all. And that was not a good thing to do. Taking a month of break and, going back and studying and whatnot, it is difficult.
Yeah, it's almost like taking a day off, or I'm sorry, taking a month off from the gym or taking a month off from training, and then trying to get right back to it, and thinking you're going to be able to go at the same intensity as you were when you stopped, but it's almost like you got to take those baby steps again and kind of build that momentum.
It was hard for me to sit on the chair for 4 hours also after that. Because I remember before that, I completed your course in 1 month. Like every day after work, I used to study for 3 to 4 hours. No matter what, I wanted to finish your course first before the live classes so that I can write everything what I wanted to. But once I took that 1 month off, I was very lazy and I almost planned to not take it. I'm like, you know what? I don't need that. I'll not take it. But my wife is like, nope, that's not happening.
She took away your phone and she locked you in the room and she said, "You're going to study
Yes,
now," didn't she?
yes.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize. I'm not sure if if you guys have kids or a family yet, but
Nope,
with a spouse, husband or wife, I mean, they're just as involved as you are because, obviously it's such a tremendous time sacrifice to just sit there and study, and the person at home, they're not seeing you for that time, and you're taking away what would normally be their time, and then now
definitely.
they're picking up all the extra responsibilities. They're picking up the slack so you can study. But definitely sounds like you had a great, you're a great coach. Sounds like your wife was cracking the whip and
Oh
really making sure you were
yeah.
sticking to it.
Yeah, because she was doing all the dishes and whatnot. Because I mean, we have it divided, but she was like, for this 7 months, you're not doing anything. Even if you're not doing anything, just sit there and relax. Take some time off and don't do the dishes. Relax and then go back to studying. But I was like scared that what if I fail? And this whole effort of hers will like, will not be, I mean, justified. So she was like, don't worry, just go, study, do your thing. Doesn't matter if it's pass or fail. We'll do it next time.
I bet when you pranked her, when you first got the results, I bet that whole time period probably flashed before her eyes and she thought she was going to have to do it all over again.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's see. How about us? How did you find out about us at electricalpe.review.com and about the study program that we provide for the PE exam?
So basically, at my second job, I mean, when I lost my first job, I got into this consulting. That's when this all started, EIT and PE. So there, one of my friend took EIT and then he took PE, but he didn't pass. And then he took your course just for a month, and he passed. And at my new job, they sent me something that you should go with this course, but it was very expensive. And I was like, I'm not ready to pay that much money. I know you guys are giving the money, but still, I would first, ask my friends what they did. So he suggested me your course, and I'm like, okay, then I'm going with this one. And the funny part is, I had signed up for your course just for that weekly free subscription kind of thing
Mhm.
4 years back. I was getting the reminders from your website, and I'm like, oh, this is the guy. And he also suggests me the same guy. Then I'm like, you know what? I'm taking this course.
That's interesting. So you had signed up for the free trial that we have on our website years ago.
Yes.
And then it turned out the course that your friend took at your previous job was ours and he passed. And then you kind of put it together that it was the same program. That's awesome.
Yep.
That's awesome. Yeah, I would say most of our business is definitely by referrals more than anything.
Definitely.
And how do we do? How well do we do our job preparing you for not just the PE exam, but the new CBT format, especially since that surprise adjustment happened in the middle of the live class semester?
So I'll tell you this one thing which I noticed. Why your course is good than the rest is like, people will teach one, two, three, four, but you teach 1A, 1B, 1B, 1C, 1D, and then 2A, 2B, 2C, 2D. So you go like in depth, step by step. Like there is no thing which is like assumption. It is just logic. And you go very easily step by step, because I remember I was not confident at all, because if you remember our initial chats, that will it be from scratch, because I have no idea what to do, and you were like, don't worry, it will be from scratch. And that's why I signed up for your course, because I was not confident as an engineer that could I be able to pull this off. But once I saw all your materials and whatnot, it was like very basic. Anybody can understand anything. I mean, if I can do it, anyone can do it. It is as easy as that.
Got it. So you really like the way we kind of pretty much approach everything from scratch, no assumptions, and just kind of building on it step by step by step, and then sometimes even taking the same problem, maybe solving it backwards, or taking the same problem, change one slight problem to it, and then solve it again, and then see okay who gets it and who's still
Yes,
struggling.
because I think the interesting part was, in some of your notes, you also put the link that refer this article, so that you just have to click there and not search for anything else. Just click there, you will go at that article, and then you can read it and come back. Simple.
Good. How'd you like the live class chat room during class?
I was there for, I think, half of the class sometimes, because I used to feel lazy because after work, and then at night I used to go back to your live class again, just so that I don't miss anything, because I wanted to do, like, I mean, the best part was like in live class that everybody is active, and everybody's answering their questions, and it's very easy to communicate. It's like bunch of people in the same room. So that was very good from your side, that it was open for everyone to comment, ask questions, and answer the questions. So yeah, I loved it.
Great. What about how'd you like the live class discussion board?
Oh, it has helped me a lot. I think Jerome, he was the guy who was answering every question. So no matter what, if I would post anything, there were a few other people also, like they would explain me, because I remember like few of the questions I would not get the answers, and I would ask and still I would not understand it. But and still they would explain again more. And I'm like, okay, so these are Zach into 10.
Yeah.
And I would ask all sorts of questions, because even the dumb ones, I don't care, because now there are people who would answer you without judging you.
Yep.
So that helped me a lot.
Yeah, I think you were definitely one of the more active students on the discussion board last semester. And I'm glad you said that, because it's the first time it's been brought up on the weekly show, but it really is, it's judgment free. People are just there to help each other and to pass the exam. And it's amazing. Some of the questions, I mean, some of them are more basic than others, but some questions are fascinating. Some of the questions too, I like to jump in and dig a little deeper too. It can be really thought provoking. And it's really amazing when people aren't scared to ask a question, when they're not scared to be judged, or they're not scared that someone's going to say, you should know that, or, why
Yeah,
don't you know that already? When they're not scared about that, it's really interesting. The discussion that starts, it's really beneficial, and it turns out to be a lot of fun too. Did you find that kind of helped you stay on track? Especially, I don't know if you would receive the email notifications that someone kind of replied to you, but did that
oh
kind
yeah,
of at least keep you focused and kind of on track?
definitely. Because when I used to post question, I used to get answer in next 24 hours. And max, when I used to email you, I used to get in 24 to 48 hours back. And I'm like, is he even sleeping or no? So it was like that easier for me to get answers, because what happens is, when you ask a question, it might get delayed by a week or so, and then you don't want to go back to that question again and think about it. But since your response are very quick, it is easier to go back to that question and put it down and understand things easily.
Great. Yeah. Sometimes if you're in a program where someone, I hear a lot of some of the older programs that have been around, instructors just take too long to answer. And if they take a week or two to get back, by the time you get a response, I mean, you're 100 questions past that, you're 3 subjects ahead, and it's almost even more time consuming to go back. So I'm glad you like that. What else? How about what subjects were the most difficult for you to learn, and then what subjects were the easiest to learn that you liked the most?
I hate electronics.
Really?
Yes, that small circuits and diodes and whatnot, I never used to get it. But at least I know the basics, and I still remember in my PE exam. And when I used to get that question, I'm like, okay, can I do this, or I'll just pass it off? So what I did was I passed all that questions, so that I'm confident enough to answer the rest of them, and then go back to that one, because anyways I had time. So that was a difficult one. But circuit analysis was, I mean, you made it very easy. Circuit analysis, and I also liked uh, machines, because I had that gimmick things and whatnot, so that I mean, it was easier for me to remember stuff now.
Interesting. So not a fan of power electronics.
Nah.
That's it's definitely an interesting subject on the PE exam, because most power engineers, you don't really need to know the inner workings of, a rectifier, a
Yeah.
VFD. It's really more important to know, how do I use it? How do I pick out the right one for that application? Make sure it's big enough for the motor, or make sure it's going to do what I need it to do, or maybe a UPS, make sure it's got enough of a
Yeah.
capacity for the circuit. But it's an interesting subject. And some of the questions they ask go pretty deep, even just ripple factor, or tracing out, the smoothing capacitor on a full wave diode rectifier.
Yep.
It gets pretty in depth. Yeah. That's one of my favorite questions to ask during these interviews, because uh, I think that engineers that either haven't taken it yet, or if they've taken it and they haven't passed the PE exam, they think they have to master every single subject, and that's not true. And sometimes, you can get so focused on the one subject you're not good at, that by the time you can master that subject, you'll get all those questions right, but you're going to get all the other questions, all the easier ones wrong, because you spent
Yeah.
so much time on just one subject. So yeah, it's if anyone's watching this, it's okay. Especially symmetrical components comes up a lot. Um, Sometimes transmission lines, power electronics. You don't have to get every question in every subject.
Yeah.
And if there's a subject you're just not good at, get the fundamentals down, right? Master the fundamentals, be able to answer about 50% of the questions in your worst subject, and make sure you're still studying in other areas. And as long as you get a passing score, that's all that matters. You don't need
Yeah.
100%. You don't need a certain percent in every category. Every question counts the same amount of points. You just got to
Yes.
get past that passing line.
Because I remember my first question was that only electronics. I'm like, no.
Skip.
Yeah.
How about here's a good question. What turned out to be, so you studied for quite a bit. You were signed up for October. October was canceled. The December CBT exam was the first opportunity, and then you took it in January. So you had quite a bit of time to study. After all that time has passed, after you've gotten your results and you passed the PE exam, what ultimately turned out to be the most effective use of your time? And then compare that to what turned out to be the least effective use of your time to study.
So first would be studying consistently,
Mm.
because if I would say that I am not as smart as the rest of the engineers, but the thing what I noticed is if you're consistent, you can pass this exam very easily, because once you're consistent, you are in that pace that okay, you are doing this every day and it's the same thing again and again, but do it, don't worry. Because I remember I did your whole I think live class things and notes almost 10 to 12 times. Just would go through every day, just would go through every day. And I used to mark, I used to mark up everything like what was important and write it down in a paper and just keep it somewhere so that I can refer it to it, just look at it, okay, done. So that will keep you in the loop that okay, this is what you're approaching every day and it becomes a habit. So consistency is one of the thing. And just don't worry about will you pass or not. Just be consistent, don't worry about the results, because sometimes if you are consistent you might not even pass, that's fine, there's always a second time.
Yeah, and sometimes if you're so focused about the results, you're going to discourage yourself before you even take the exam, and you're not going to really put your heart into studying.
Pressure, it's all about pressure. If you take pressure you will not even understand things which you are reading. Because I still remember, uh, I think in California the first day was in January only. I was not able to take in December somehow. The first date it showed up was January only, and people were getting exams in December. So I used to see that forum, and people are passing. I'm like, I was doubting myself, will I be able to pass? Will I be able to pass? And I stopped watching that forum for last 1 week. I'm like, nope, let me just study. Let's not focus on who passed and who didn't. Let's just focus on what you have right now.
Yeah, keep the eye on the prize, right?
Yes.
What about what anything turned out to be not effective that you would recommend someone not do?
No, because the thing is, it is always worth to put more time and then regret, rather than putting less time and just going it to waste.
Hmm.
Because I still remember when I was studying, I used to be like, you know what, I'll do it tomorrow, or I still have time. I know these things. But one day I realized that nope, it has to be like right away. Because I used to put in habit like whenever I see a question, I should know what to do in next 15 to 20 seconds. So I had put up that habit that when I used to put all your questions in one book, and I used to open any page and just read that question and see if I can go step by step or no. Just think about it. That's it. You don't have to solve like again and again. but that keeps you in the practice of answering it faster. So that's what I did.
Interesting. Kind of like making a pop quiz out of every subject.
Difficult questions are in one book, easier ones never see.
We're actually we're working on a random quiz generator right now that we're probably going to launch in the next week or two to kind of simulate exactly what you're talking about. So I'm glad to hear that that was helpful.
Yep.
Great. What else? How about what'd you do the night before the exam? The night and the day. The night and the day before the exam.
Oh my God. That night, I mean, that day actually, I slept at 9 earlier than what I used to sleep, like, around 10. I'm like, I don't want to do anything. It's done. Now I don't want to get pressurized and, just look at something which I don't know. And so I went to sleep. In the morning, I woke up like 2, 3 hours earlier and just scanned everything again, just like flipping pages, just for that,
Hmm.
confidence that, okay, I have done everything, just for that confidence. So I did that and went. That's it. And no pressures at all. Just go there, sit there, come back, done.
And pass or fail. I'm going to tell my wife that I failed.
Yeah.
What else? How about what would you tell an engineer that's considering to sign up for an online study program, whether it's with us at electricalpe or if it's with one of our competitors? What would you tell that engineer to help them figure out which program is the right one for them to sign up with? How could they kind of evaluate each of the different providers to find out which one is probably the best one for them?
Don't evaluate, just go with that. Simple. Because I did saw your reviews, and that was one of the reasons why I signed up. And I was seeing people were writing like big reviews for you, and that means they are writing by their heart, from their heart. It's not just like, okay, good course, go take it. You don't know if it's fake or real. But when you write like this big of an essay kind of thing, that is real. And that was one of the things which I like. And also I had seen your material, sample materials which you provide for free. So that says a lot, because that's like one of the gatekeeper for your course. And if someone understands that very easily, that means the course will be like a piece of cake. So that is one of the thing. And yes, consistency is one of the things. Don't worry how smart you are. Smart people can fail too.
Excellent. So read the reviews and maybe sample some of the material,
Yes,
and maybe don't be intimidated by the material. Don't think that you already have to know it.
it will fall into place, yeah, like smooth.
Great. What else? What piece of advice would you give an engineer that's studying for the CBT exam? So pretend that maybe someone that's watching this, either they just signed up for the exam, maybe 3 to 4 months from now, or maybe they haven't signed up for it, but they're about to do it. Maybe they haven't really looked online or looked into study strategy and test taking strategy and things specifically for the PE exam. What would you recommend? How would you recommend they start? Any kind of advice you would give them, besides all the things you've already kind of shared?
Sure. First of all, you have to put it like in front of you that you have passed the exam.
Hmm.
Just put it there, because I have it here. It's 10/5. I have it written on 10/5 that I would pass the exam. See, 10/5, and see here. So I had it there that I have already passed it. No matter what. So one thing is you have to believe in yourself that you will pass for sure. And the other thing is do lots of sums, lots of problem questions. Just do it, no matter if you can do it or not, but just see how it is done, even if you cannot do it, because that's one of the way to understand that this kind of sum can also be there. So even if you are not able to approach that sum and you don't get the answer, that's fine. Because I remember whenever Jerome used to post any problems, I never used to get the answers for that. never. And I was like, I think, I hope I pass. And but once you see the problem sums, then I mean, you just unlock your brain that okay, this is one of the approach it can be done. So you do a lot of sums and repeatedly do it. Just keep on repeating it, no matter what, if you get new questions or not. Because I remember for the NEC, I just searched online that NEC questions, sample questions, and I got like 360 questions just on NEC. And but they were simple. But at least you would know that okay, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. Just keep on doing it. Simple.
Excellent. What else? Anything? I mean, that's about all the questions I have prepared. Anything else you can think of, or?
I don't think I can think of anything else. This was
Did
too much of thinking.
did you guys do anything special to celebrate, you and your wife?
So yes, my wife that day had put a surprise party for me that night, and guess what? She knew I would be passing, so a night before that, she had ordered everything. And when the exam was there, I told her that I might not pass because there were many surprises for me, but she knew that I would be passing it, and it happened.
So she saw all the hard work you were doing, and she said, "You know what? I know he passed."
Yeah.
That's awesome. Excellent.
Yeah, because the same thing happened in EIT. Because I have this habit of doing tantrums after exam, that you know what, it was this, it was that, I might not pass, because I don't consider myself as lucky when it comes to guessing. And sometimes your guesses are right and you can pass, but I don't keep that as an option at all. So my wife knows that you know what, he will be passing for sure, so forget about his tantrum.
Excellent. I bet it was a fun party.
Yeah. Yep.
Right. Well, that's about it. Thanks again for coming on. Thanks for sharing your experience. Thanks for sharing advice. If I had to sum it up, I would say it sounds like what really worked for you is really just taking the pressure away,
Totally.
studying consistently, telling yourself you're going to pass, even writing it down to
Yep.
kind of boost that confidence, making sure your wife takes your phone and locks you in the room to make you study. Doing a lot of problems, sometimes maybe even not writing them out, but maybe just kind of randomly looking through different problems just to keep things refreshed.
Yep.
And being diligent.
Definitely.
So
Key
all
to
right.
success.
So hey, congrats again. Enjoy
you
it.
so
Keep
much.
celebrating. Enjoy that great feeling while it lasts. You
All right.
definitely put in the work and deserve it. So thanks for coming
Thank
on,
you so
and
much.
feel free to keep in touch.
Sure. Bye bye.
Bye.